MIG. This talk's going to be on emergency medicine CARMS and residency. So we have two of the FRCPC residents and also a CCFP graduate. So I guess I'll just introduce them individually. First we have Dr. Stella Yu. She's a 2+1 graduate from U of T, and she's also the assistant coordinator for the undergraduate emergency medicine clerkship program. So she'll be giving you guys a talk on the 2+1 program. Next we have Dr. Warren Chung, who's PGY3 in the Royal College program. And he'll be talking to you guys about, I guess, making yourselves competitive candidates for CARMS and residency. And he'll also give a talk, I guess, about some of the fellowships. He's going to be doing a 4th-year fellowship in medical education. And lastly, we have Dr. Deborah Eagles, who's a PGY4 Royal College resident, who's currently doing a fellowship in clinical epidemiology. And she's a mother of two, so she can talk to you guys about family life and kind of balancing between work and life. And I guess we'll get started. If you guys can help me with it.
All right, thanks. It's great to see so many people interested in that emergency medicine. We're all very keen about it. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the residency, and then I'm going to talk about the fellowships for the 5-year program. So the residency is very similar to a lot of other different programs, and of course you have your different rotations. I'm going to talk more about them specifically what they are over the course of the 5 years. We do have an academic day. It varies depending on the program that you're at. Here in Ottawa, it's a half-day academic day, and it normally consists of case rounds in the morning. Residents are responsible for preparing notes, and so what happens is that if you had interesting case over the past month or so when you're on rotation and emerge, then you write it up and you present it to your fellow colleagues, and you sort of work together to find out points about generally followed by grand rounds. Again, residents are responsible for doing grand rounds. The last program out, it's normally YT and up to grand rounds. And they're a little bit more literature-based and more detailed about some hopefully interesting aspects of emergency medicine. We also do Journal Club. Journal Club is once a month on Wednesday evenings, and we just provide it, which is always nice. Done by residents, and we normally have facilitators. So one of our key methodologists, Dr. Steele or Dr. Calder, facilitate the whole process, and we discuss normally 4 articles that are relevant to emergency medicine. We go through them methodologically and then also the clinical applications, whether or not we think they're practice changing or not. We have simulation sessions. You guys probably are aware that we now have one of the best sim centers in all of Canada, and we're very lucky. We also have a strong sim program, and I'll talk about the colleges a little bit later. But essentially, speak louder. Okay, sorry. So our sim sessions, when you are on service, so when you're doing an emergency medicine rotation, we normally do 1 or 2 afternoons in the sim labs. And the sim labs, they're high fidelity sim labs, and essentially you walk in and then you have to deal with the situation. And we often use them to go over cases that are unusual, toxicology cases, or say pregnancy trauma cases, things that we wouldn't see in everyday life, but that are very important for us to know how to manage. We also have three types of exams that we do. So we do practice oral exams. In the first few years, you maybe get a couple a year. They're run by staff. Andrew, is that better? No. Okay, so I'll just yell. So the practice orals are essentially in preparation for your 5th-year oral exams, because the FR exams, you normally have a 1-day written and a 1-day oral examination. And so we start right from first year where you meet with the staff, and you meet with staff and they present a case for you. And so then you have to run through what you would do while you're doing that case. But it's different from your sim sessions in that you're just sitting down and running through the case, and they'll give you feedback about, this is what the vitals are, and you have to manage the case and they'll progress it as you go through. And And then by 5th year, you're doing them almost weekly in preparation for your final exams again in 5th year. Twice a year we do in-training exams. So we have a Canadian in-training exam which we do in the fall, and it's essentially very similar to the written exam that people take at the end of 5th year. And we also do the American board exams, and we do those in January, February of the year. They're multiple choice, they're generally quite a bit easier. Those marks are actually looked at in terms of how we're progressing throughout our residency program. As part of the FR program, actually, Dr. G will talk about the EM 2+1 program as well. We have to do some sort of scholarly project. Essentially, it starts in the 2nd year. We have to think about what we might want to do. We have to put in a proposal. We have to submit to ethics. We do the project ourselves, and we write it up. Most of the time, the quality is good enough that we're able to present at the national conference. There's an annual emergency medicine conference that's held in different places across the country every year. And most people either have a poster or an oral presentation that they're able to present there. And then ultimately you have to prepare a manuscript for submission to a journal. We get some time off during the course of 2nd and 3rd year in our clinical rotations to accommodate the research that we're doing for our residency, and we're very well supported because the emergency department is probably one of the strongest in Canada, if not in the world, in terms of research being headed by Dr. Steele. So we're very strong methodologists to help us through this, and not only that, but all the support staff, so statisticians, all sorts of people that are there to help you. And finally, all the residents do courses, ATLS, ACLS, and PALS, which are just key courses that you need to know as an emergency medicine resident to deal with traumas and pediatric emergencies. So that's kind of the general overview of the residency program. You can see why it's busy. If you want to talk about the restrictions in 5th year, sort of a general summary, the first 3 years, you're off service for about 50% of the time. In 4th year, it's your fellowship year, and then in 5th year, you're back almost strictly to emergency medicine. So we do both surgical and medical specialties, and we're very lucky because we do a lot of critical care rotations as well. So we do in 1st year 1 ICU as a junior, and then we do 2 in 3rd year as a senior. We also do 2 months of CCU, and we're lucky here in Ottawa because we get to be with the Heart Institute. So there's high acuity cases, fantastic teaching. We also do PICU at CHIO, and again, that's one of the things that we're fortunate to be near. A lot of the other programs, Kingston and even MAC, their fellows come up here to Ottawa to work at CHIO, and we're lucky that we have it right here with us all the time. So we do PICU as well. So those are critical care. And then we just do the general surgical stuff, ortho, gen surge, plastics, and neurosurge. And medicine. Medicine normally is 1st year is wards, but then we do consults in 3rd year, which is much better lifestyle. That's right. We have a couple of electives. For talks, almost all of the residents go down to New York City for a month, which is great. They have wonderful teaching down there, and it's also a break to sort of get away from the grind of Ottawa, and people really enjoy the cultural aspect of it. And the clinical aspect is relatively short.
Yes. You probably spend about 3 hours a day doing the clinical stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, not actually seeing patients, but doing teaching and clinical, and then you have the rest of the day off.
Reading time.
Yes, reading time. No call, no weekends.
Yep. And then the other elective that people do is a trauma elective. So you can do your trauma here in Ottawa. And in fact, believe it or not, Ottawa is the 2nd largest trauma center in Ontario. I guess it's 50% based on the city side. And the majority of people, what is that? But the majority of people want to go elsewhere for trauma. Most of our residents go down to Baltimore. We have an agreement with them. But we've had other residents that have gone to places like South Africa. I know someone's trying to get down to Florida this year.
Miami.
Yeah, Miami. So there's lots of opportunities and they're very supportive in our department. Other electives too, we've had people that have done some ortho electives, some sports medicine electives out west during ski season, out in Kelowna and things like that. So there is flexibility, even outside of your elective time, to do some of your key stuff elsewhere, as long as it's at an academic center. Most of the other, if I compare this to what most of the other universities have, it's very, very similar. They're your off-service stuff all the way up until the end of third year. So for fourth year, it's really an elective year. As mandated by the college, you have to do 6 months in a specialized area. So you could, if you wanted to choose to do a clinical 6 months, but a lot of people end up doing fellowships. I've broken down the fellowships into two sort of different things: academic fellowships and clinical fellowships. You can almost do a fellowship in anything that you would want to do. There's not many fellowships that are actually recognized by the college itself. There's only a few that are. And I'll talk about those a little bit later. So the academic fellowships, most of them are post-secondary degrees. So you can do research, Master's in Clinical Epidemiology, that's what I'm working on right now. It's generally a 2-year fellowship, so during fourth year what happens is you do your coursework, you're full-time back in school, as well as continuing some of your clinical skills by doing some shifts throughout the year as well. Then you go back in your 5th year to do your regular clinical stuff, prepare for your final exam, and then in 6th year you go on to do your research. There's education masters, as Jeff was saying, Warren is planning on doing that. Again, you can do them here in town at the University of Ottawa, or there's correspondence courses that you can do with it. Administration, we've had a couple of people. When the recent grads just did his MBA, one of the 5th years he's done her MBA, she went down to Queens. He did his here in Ottawa. And finally, one of the newer ones is simulation. Again, since this new sim lab has opened up, they have started a new sim fellowship. It's a 1-year fellowship, although it's still all kinds of change in it. The nice thing about it is it's multidisciplinary, so there's anesthesia involved, there's gen surg involved, and